Peace appears to be returning to strife-torn Laos with the formation of a coalition government composed of right-wing, communist, and neutralist leaders. The United States has poured supplies into the country as Laos fought a debilitating war against communism. The groundwork for the agreement was set last June in Vienna when President Kennedy met with Chairman Khrushchev. At that time, they both pledged to work towards a solution. Now, in the Plan d'Asia in central Laos, that pledge takes fruit as Prince Bunum arrives at a conference of the three factions. Bunum is waiving any post in the new government, a step that the U.S. has insisted upon. Aid to Laos was cut off in February until he did resign. One of the triumvirate is Prince Suvarnabhumi, pro-communist head of the Pathet Lao movement. He will be joined in the new government by General Phumi Nosavan, right-wing military chief. The left-wing and right-wing leaders will rule with Prince Suvarnabhumi, a neutralist, and an 18-man cabinet composed of all three political shades. The agreement they reach in the dilapidated Army Officers Club will be ratified in Geneva, and within 75 days all foreign troops are to be withdrawn. This is the international agreement drawn up by 13 nations last year to guarantee Laotian independence. Whether it will bring permanent peace, only time will tell. The spoon proves mightier than the bars at supposedly escape-proof Alcatraz Prison. 3 bank robbers serving long terms scratched their way through grills covering an air vent, climbed a drainage pipe, and disappeared from the forbidding rock in San Francisco Bay. It appears to be the first successful escape in the history of the maximum security prison, and the flight is attributed by Warden Olin Blackwell to the deteriorating condition of the prison. Crumbling concrete and eroding metals, with $5 million needed for repairs. The men the walls couldn't hold are Frank Morris and John and Clarence Anglin. Authorities believe that Morris, who has a superior IQ, masterminded the escape. Ironically, the wanted posters offer only the nominal reward of $50 each for information leading to the arrest of the prisoners. They painstakingly fashioned dummies of plaster with hair of paintbrush bristles to stand in for them during cell check, while they covered an escape hole with a cardboard grill. All of this was within easy visual range of the guards in the gun galleries. They climbed drain pipes to the top of the cell block and then slid down vents to the ground. Again, all of this within sight of guards. The escape triggered the greatest manhunt in San Francisco's history, as agents of the FBI, Coast Guardsmen, Highway Patrol, sheriff's deputies, and local police join in the search. Whatever their fate, the 3 convicts have apparently accomplished a feat that many have tried with no success. "25 years ago, the romance of the century reached full flower at a castle in Mons, France. There, the king who abdicated his throne married the woman he loved. The Duke of Windsor and Mrs. Wallis Warfield Simpson, the king and the commoner, became man and wife. The Duke had succeeded his father, King George, on the throne of England until, in a speech beginning with the famous words, 'At long last,' he gave up his throne rather than give up marriage to Mrs. Simpson. It was a romance that rocked the empire, but it thrilled the world, and every step of their honeymoon received full play in newspapers around the globe. 25 years later, they are still constant travelers, and they have returned many times to the scene of their Venetian honeymoon, the storybook romance of king and commoner. Despite repeal of prohibition, the Women's Christian Temperance Union was still going strong. In National Convention in Washington, they girded to do further battle with the demon rum. They were a vocal minority.
I solemnly promise, God helping me, to abstain from the use of all distilled, fermented, and malt liquors, and that means wine and beer. I don't drink, and I will do all I can to keep you from drinking.
I think prohibition will come back.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
Sam Snead had just come out of the West Virginia hills, and 25 years ago he was playing in the U.S. Open Championship for the first time at the Oakland Hills Country Club near Detroit. Sam was burning up the course. When Snead curled in his final putt, he looked like the winner of the first Open he'd ever played. But behind Snead came a golfer who had become so discouraged at times that he had almost quit the game. At last, Dame Fortune smiled on Ralph Guldahl. With a closing round that stunned Snead and the gallery, he set a new tournament record of 281 and topped the title. It was the first of many crushing disappointments for Snead in the Open Championship, as Guldahl winds up with a pot of gold and a happy better half.